What's going on, Javier Lobby? It's your boy Javier with the Javier Show. Make sure you say it twice. I'm back. Vacation was great. So happy to be back with y'all and get some content coming out. And I swear it felt weird being away for a week, not doing any content and things like that. And I put out some videos for y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed the reactions that I put out last week. With that being said, right now I'm going to do a reaction to Tom Macdonald's Behind the Shoot. And I believe that this is a very controversial song that he had. And it's 18 minutes. It's pretty long. So just to give y'all a heads up. But without further ado, let's actually get into it.
1 in a million to one villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.
All right, I'm here with DJ Batman in the building. What's up, brother?
Not a whole lot.
Oh, yeah. Yourself? Pretty good, man. Texas was awesome. It was amazing. I see I got some people joining the live stream, which is great. I've been looking forward to this one. I think you recommended it as well. I mean, yeah. Plenty of y'all have, and I'm finally getting around to it. So I'm excited about it. Now, before we get into the actual reaction, everybody, I just want to point out this shirt that I'm wearing. It's a Javier shirt.
Jersey.
Jersey. And just got it in the mail. It's fresh. It's still warm. And just to show y'all kind of like what it looks like. This is the pink version. I'm from the South, y'all, so apologies. But that's what it looks like. Team Javier. Looks pretty dope.
Signature.
Oh, yeah. Signature at the bottom. On the back, my beautiful numbers 270. I know a lot of y'all don't know what that means, and I ain't revealed it yet, but one day it's coming. All right. So, made by yours truly, DJ Batman. Did a great job here, brother. I'm really excited to see it. I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to rock it.
We're only doing 400 of those, so get them while you can.
Get them while you can, and you can find the link in the description. I believe that the store is in the description, so definitely go check it out. And if you can't having a hard time finding it, reach out to me or put it in the comment section, and I'll help you with that.
And one more thing, while you're there at the store, if you want to go ahead, you can pick up one of these as well. Since I designed this as well, and I have some other designs on there, so.
Yeah, he has a lot of stuff up there. So let's go, Brandon. All right, y'all. This has been my first live stream when it comes to doing a Tom Macdonald reaction. Now, the reason I decided to do this live stream is because it is actually a very lengthy video. It's not just the regular music video. So I know that's what y'all here for. I see all of y'all over there. Elaine, I see Helen Montana over there, Jafaifa, if I can say that right, DBZ, and we're going to get it popping. So let's see what this is all about. You ready for this, DJ?
Heck yeah, do it.
All right. Woo! Nah, I haven't seen any of this yet, so y'all bear with me. And I apologize. It's not the 18-minute video. The 18-minute video is coming later. This is actually a little under 7 minutes.
Being as this is like a super like edgy piece of content, I'm gonna play you guys the song right now. Everybody sort of knows what to expect. The first verse especially is pretty rocky, purposefully to engage the people that are watching it.
So I'm a little curious here. Are these like actual students that he was able to get into their classroom and decide?
I believe they're actors that he hired, or people that wanted to be like, he probably put an ad out saying I need people for music video or something, and people probably just showed up, most likely. That's probably why he's going through such the deep, conversation.
Yeah. Imagine answering an ad. You say, hey, we want you in this music video, and next thing you know, it's a white guy.
Canadian white guy.
Stuff. Yeah. Dope. The audio's a little iffy on this, I guess, because it's like behind the shoot. There's a lot of background noise being picked up, and I know that they're in kind of like a hollow room, so that's expected.
Yeah. Well, this was before he really took off as well. This is right kind of in the beginning. So
yeah. I actually really love the music video. Just I know y'all saw it, but I really love this, and I wonder if they handpicked each one of these people, and they did like auditions or something, but. Let's just see where it goes. I'm not going to talk too much.
Second verse onward, it smooths out back there. So.
Okay, so he skipped initially hearing the song. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here at this point that heard this song. If you haven't, please go check it out. Oh yeah, he's giving them a chance to hit the song before the shoot. So he actually skipped the song as far as playing it, but that's cool. That's cool. No problems there.
Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely asking questions for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Feel free to ask them.
I was just gonna ask, what makes you feel like you need to like justify that you're not a racist?
Yes. I am glad that it's more of a conversation and he's allowing to get feedback and questions. This is great. I am so excited about this. Oh, that was
that's why it's a good video. You know?
Yeah, that was a good question that this guy asked. Oh man. Now, can I give my own feedback before I hear what Tom Macdonald has to say? Is that okay? Is that okay? Now, the question he asked is, what makes you feel like you need to justify that you're not racist? What's up, Tanya? Well, I would say in 2021, I'm not sure what year this was, but in the last decade, especially around the time that Obama got elected, it's been very, very well known in our country that racism is not too far from one of the main issues that comes up during every election. If not, it's at the forefront every time a police shooting happens and it involves a white officer and a black officer. And we talk about the history of slavery and things of that sort. We live in a very sensitive time right now where people perceive anything done to a person of color that is not favorable as possibly being an after effect of racism. And there is a mindset out there, and we know the hypersensitive woke who prescribe to this mentality that they feel as if they don't get the same outcomes as white people, that somehow that is discrimination or they're suffering from some kind of injustice in the system, which we know the evidence doesn't necessarily bear that out. Now, Tom Macdonald, he asked him, why do you feel like you need to justify that you're not racist? And it is simple as this. It's because there is a group of people walking around America and in other countries at this point, in Europe and stuff of that sort, Canada, that really believe that you can be racist even if you don't know you're racist. You can be inherently biased. And now that puts you on the defense. As a white person walking around in America, you now have to prove to people that you're not a racist, instead of the default being you're not racist unless you do something to prove you're a racist. So that's probably what they're dealing with. But I'm really interested to see what Tom Macdonald has to say.
One thing I'll say, though, is, I mean, to be honest, I agree with the Avenue Q people when with their song, you know, everyone's a little bit racist. Because to be honest, everyone has a little bit of bias in them. We all make judgments based on race, not like, you know, hate crime or anything, but we all make judgments. And one part in the song that they said, which I agree with, it's probably easier just for everybody just to admit that they're racist than trying to fix it. To be like, all right, we're all racist, move on.
Yeah. It's a very simplistic view of the world. Yeah. And, you know, as long as you can pivot off of, oh, well, the white man or the white person is holding me down, you don't have to take any inherent responsibility on why your life is the way it is. Yes, there are racists and racists exist, but nowhere near the level and near the effort that the outrage calls for. People are hyper sensitive when it comes to racism, when it's not necessarily translating into the actual data that we have. All right, now let's get back to the video. Thank you, Renee, so much for popping in. I saw your comment just to make sure. All right, let's get to it.
I don't feel like I do, and I don't really feel like the song is like, I'm not racist, but it has been said like so many times. I'm Canadian, okay? So the social climate in Canada, in terms of like race relations and that type of thing, is completely different than it is here in America. And like, quite simply put, like, I wasn't prepared for that, how intense the racial shit is out here. Obviously, like, the roots in America runs far deeper than they do in Canada.
This is a culture shock. That's what you call culture shock. You would be surprised if you go to any other country. And I'm not somebody who's traveled to many countries, but I have met plenty of people from other countries. And what they say is racism is on the tip of everybody's tongue in America. It is so much so that presidents of the United States of America, candidates, use that as one of their main talking points when trying to win votes. Why we're so racialized in this country? Why do we separate ourselves by race? It's definitely due to, and we have to admit it, the history of slavery, the history of the Jim Crow laws, that plays a major role in why people develop this mentality. It's just fair to say that. But the problem is, how do we not conflate what used to be to what is now, and holding people who had nothing to do with it accountable? Go ahead.
Another thing you're also forgetting is that in America, we've had it so good for so long that I believe people are bringing up stuff from the past because, well, so boring to, because we're basically bored, in this country, so we got to come up with something to make life interesting. Everybody wants to be a part of that history, where amazing, great things happen. That's what we have now. Everybody wants to be a part of that great thing of history, instead of looking at, like, are you actually doing something to make things better, or are you just doing it just to make yourself feel better, but actually making things worse?
Yeah. Yeah. And to expound on that, and we're going to get back to the video, but there are so many people, and let's just be honest, psychologically, a lot of people miss that they wasn't a part of the civil rights movement. You had Martin Luther King, you had Malcolm X, you had all of these leaders that was rising up, and they're iconic. And people wish that they were iconic. We got the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons and the people of that sort who are still trying to fill the shoes of Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X or something of that sort. They cannot let the issue go because that is their moment to shine. And what the problem is this. These people are not real leaders. Martin Luther King was a real leader. He was very much iconic, and he had his flaws. I'm not saying that Martin Luther King didn't do things that was like really, really, really bad. But the point is, these people have what you call some kind of nostalgia for a time that has passed, and they want to fight that same fight because it makes them warriors. Everybody wants to be the hero in their own story, and it's harder to go out into the world, take responsibility for yourself, and make something out of yourself. It's easier to go out in the streets and yell and scream about stuff. So that's why a lot of people cash in on this. And it's been that way throughout history. It's easier to let somebody else tell you what your problem is and to jump on the bandwagon. And so many people are doing that. And we can go into the universities. We can go into the media. There are so many problems going on right now that is feeding this mentality that Tom Macdonald is experiencing when he came into the actual country. So I'm sorry, y'all. Let's go. Let's go.
So it was like pretty eye-opening to come out here, and especially like under Donald Trump's administration and everything that perpetuates, it was pretty like eye-opening for me to experience that. And because the last two songs I released were targeting the content of mumble rap, so like over-sexualization of women, alcohol consumption, Xanax use, overspending, party culture, like that type of thing.
That's what they want to talk about, Tom. They won't talk about that. I really take the time to appreciate the fact that he touches on those things. The same people who are arguing that, oh, the white man is doing this and the white man is doing that, how often do these same people go out and really, truly criticize the garbage that is put into hip-hop music, into the Black communities every single day, that we idolize, that we look up to, that we uplift? Where's the talk about that? The demoralization of Black women, of women in general. They're calling them bees and hoes and things of that sort, or the glorification of shooting each other and gang violence. Those things are uplifted, and people try to say, "Oh, they're just telling their story." No, that's not true. There are a lot of these rappers out here glorifying these actions.
I mean, look at the Compton movie. Like that movie, like if it was actually made the way it was supposed to be made, it would have been horrible to watch. But they took away a lot of the actual stuff that happened to make it seem better. And even though they're actually still promoting things that are keeping the community down in a way, it's like, to be honest, I want to see these rappers like be real, instead of fake, like a lot of them are, which, it's sad, it's like what happened with the most recent thing with Travis Scott, it's like, can't trust these people anymore.
I'm really curious about that. I swear I saw a few clips here and there, stuff that you shared and other people, but I still to this day don't really know what the whole situation is about.
All I'll say is that from the very beginning, it should have been shut down because you had people trampling each other when they just opened up. You had security guards. I found videos of security guards just throwing people just for the heck of it because they can.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like the whole thing was just a disaster even before it even began. So, you know.
Yeah, I never been to one of those things, so it's different.
Plus, he pled guilty in 2015 and 2018 to actually encouraging his audience to disobey security and basically climb barriers and stuff, which ended up getting people hurt.
And to be honest, that type of behavior in the hip hop community is rewarded.
Yeah, exactly.
If you go to jail, you get street cred. You actually get more points for going to jail than going to college in this whole hip hop world. And people really, for some reason, they prefer that type of music. So,
it's entertainment. It's the movies, the TV shows. It's how we're being programmed. It's like the moment BET was created, it changed. I believe it changed the Black community because it no longer had just regular shows on TV like Family Matters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They were all now on their own separate channels. So now there's, keeping people not thinking together and, separately.
Yeah. So it's definitely a subculture within the Black community. I do not think that all Black people think like this or attribute themselves to this ideology, but it's a collective thing. And there are people on the left and the right side of the spectrum who actually lead credence to this. You do not have to have these you don't have to entertain idiotic conversations. You don't have to give these people credence. Silence is violence. What does that even mean? I'm not even about to have that conversation because we know that silence is not violence. Violence is violence. And this creating new words and trying to make things mean something that it doesn't. This equity is nonsense. Trying to make an equal outcome for everybody when everybody is different, has different capabilities, different talents, different gifts, different desires. That's how you end up with Soviet Union and Russia. That's how you end up with communist China. And for the life of me, we've tried this over and over again and it doesn't work, but they're trying something new right now. They're trying to usher it in through a racial lens, and they're manipulating Black people all throughout the world and all throughout the country to adopt this idea that they're the victims of a system that is inherently racist and holding them down. And the only way to actually excel in this country is to tear down all of the systems that we currently have in place and replace them with a new system. What do you think that new system is?
You heard what Lil Nas said about rap, right?
No.
Well, he recently came out saying, I nothing against, gay or trans people being rappers, but it's like the way he says it, it's like, we're going to dominate and we're going to take it over. I'm just like, dude, like, stop. Like, just rap. Enjoy yourself. Dude, who cares what your gender is? Who cares about all this stuff? And that's the thing. Is like people are just purposely trying to change things to things that they think that's right, but they're not actually, they're just
it's working though. It's working because it's one or two things going to happen. Either they're going to confuse the hell out of you and you're just going to check out. Some people just get so tired of defending that they're not racist or they're not part of a racist system. Hell, there are poor white people. There are white people who get shot by the police. There's so much that goes on that it doesn't just affect Black people or people of color. But if you get so confused or so irritated, you just check out. And that's a positive thing because if you start checking out, then they basically won. Or the second thing that will happen is they'll just start recruiting your kids and bringing them into the fold. And next thing you know, you have a whole generation being raised on this nonsense and you lost the country anyway. So you got to really be careful here. Let's get back to this video. Let's get back to Tom.
And because I targeted that content, I had a lot of people, like my page went from like 1,000 likes to like almost 200,000 likes in the course of like 3 months. So there's hundreds of thousands of comments on these videos and a small portion of them, but enough for me to like, my phone blows up all day. And I look down at what people are saying on these videos, and a quarter of these hundreds of thousand comments are people saying like, yo, this guy's a fucking racist. He's targeting Black rappers. He's a culture vulture, et cetera, which just comes with the territory.
It's which is nonsense. Do you know that one of the main themes of hip hop is going after other rappers?
Yep.
it's a very much of a confrontational art. And yeah, he's white, but who cares? If you see another rapper doing something that you disagree with or don't like, and you decide that you want to speak on it, you should have every right to do it. The racists are the people saying that he can't speak on it because he's white.
Yep.
But if a black artist does it, then he's just conscious, or he's just trying to bring awareness and using his music as a way of trying to change the narrative. It's racism. The moment you start to give one person special credence or special exemptions over another person because of their skin color, you're being a racist. Whether you're black or white or Hispanic, it doesn't matter. And that's one thing they do not get.
Just like when I voted for Obama in 2018, I was technically kind of racist because I voted for him because I just wanted the first black man to be in office.
Yeah, that was racist.
Yep. Like, I want him to be president because, first black president. And then I think to myself years later, man, I was kind of racist. Voting for him just because of skin color.
Yeah, it's like doing something for a particular person because of their color, even if you think it's positive, that still doesn't make it any less racist.
Yep.
I mean, call it what you want. You can call it positive racism. You can call it negative racism. You can call it whatever you want. It's still racism. But here's the trick. They always, like I said about the definitions, they'll change it on you. So racism in these people's eyes no longer means prejudging somebody or mistreating somebody or discriminating against somebody because of their skin color. It now means that you have to have power. You have to be in a position of power in order to be racist. Well, let me ask them this. How is it that Kyle Rittenhouse is being called a racist when he does not have a position of power?
Well, not just that, but the people he shot were white.
Exactly. This lets you know. See, if these people really called out certain situations, I would take them more seriously. But when they're jumping on the bandwagon of every single thing, even when it's clear that it has nothing to do with race, I have to start questioning these people's motives.
Well, not just that, but it's like, what happened to all the young black men? And literally, it was only young black men that were shot and killed in all these autonomous zones. Every one of them that was set up, young black men were shot and killed, and it wasn't big news. I mean, there was that the two young kids. One was 14, one was 16. They were driving a Jeep. They ended up getting trapped. And you could hear in the videos that they purposely executed these kids. You know, and it's just like nobody cares. But like you said, Kyle does something. Oh my goodness, it's thrown out of control.
They pick and choose which stories to highlight and make national news. Look at it. There was a black police officer who was doing security. I think he was an ex-police officer. He was doing security at a pawn shop. He was gunned down as they were trying to rob the place when the loot and the rioting was going on. Where's the national coverage here? Where's the story following, trying to figure out who did this, why they did it, and they be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law? But what? Everybody's talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. Everybody's talking about it because that's what they want you to talk about. It's even to the point where people are planning on doing violence right now if Kyle Rittenhouse is found not guilty.
Yep.
What in the hell does Kyle Rittenhouse have to do with politics? What does it have to do with race? If the facts are the facts, if Kyle Rittenhouse was acting in self-defense, that's what it was. If he wasn't, then the court of law will decide that. Yep. What does any of that have to do with politics?
Well, it's like a clip from Family Guy back when they still actually was controversial, but it was an episode where Cleveland, shot his son, and then Peter took the blame for it, and the media was all in the front yard, like going at him, and then Cleveland's like, "All right, that's it. I shot him." And then seconds, like literally, the camera pans out, and everybody's gone. And then Cleveland says, "If you want to make the media run, just black on black crime."
Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I did a reaction to the White Boy music video. I know he's absolutely not being racist. And the fact that everything that he said, it was clear that he was saying the actual opposite. I knew based on these people's mentality that he was going to be seen as a racist or somebody who's trying to benefit from the narrative of racism. I knew it. You after I've been doing this for so long, you start to pick up on these things. It becomes very apparent what the woke mob is going to dislike. And some of these people are not malicious. I'm going to put that out there. A lot of these black people or, even white people, because the white liberals are very much the major force behind all of this stuff.
They're the worst.
Yeah, but I don't really think most of them are being malicious. I think most of them are truly convinced of this because they want to be good people. And sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So I don't want y'all to be too harsh on all of them because we all accept some bad ideas throughout our life, and some people will wake up from it and they'll change. But we also got to be able to have that conversation. And sometimes when you attack people, all they do is double down. They go back into their bubble and they don't actually engage with people that they disagree with. And it's the same way with people on the right. Some of y'all probably know some far right Republicans or far right conservatives, or maybe they're not political at all, but they're very extreme in a certain ideology. Yeah. And sometimes you try to reach those people and you can't until they're ready to be reached, and it's not their fault. Go ahead, DJ.
Well, not just that, but it's like, two instances that I brought up. It's like back when Pence and Trump were still in office, there was that time where like a big group of the LGBT community decided to go in front of Pence's house and like all dance, but they weren't wearing like normal clothes. They were wearing like the most skimpiest things you could think of. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not just going to make him hate you even more. You're literally doing exactly what he thought you were going to do. It's the same thing I tell people. It's like with what BLM's been doing, all it's doing is giving the racists who've been saying what black people are like and how black people act, is just making what they've been saying more and more right. And that's why I tell people, if you want to change somebody's mind and make them believe you're not what they think you are, then act differently than what they think you are. Be better than them. It's just like I tell people who deal with, wanting to end their lives. I tell them all the time, don't let those people win. They want you to end your life. Don't do it. Don't let these people win. Never let the bad people win against you. Do everything you can to prove them wrong.
Now, I will admit, sometimes people fall into their traps, and you got to stop falling into the traps. Like I say, learn their language, learn the way that they use certain words and try to redefine them. Stop playing by their game. Hold them to the actual definition and the standards that we as a society have agreed upon for hundreds of years. So let's just, you got to pay attention to that. And yeah, you're absolutely right. The moment they saw the white boy title, I know that people were going to be pissed off about it. But let's get back to it. Tom?
But it's like, we've never targeted black rappers. We didn't target any rappers of particular color. We targeted rappers of a particular content. And there's white rappers and there's Asian rappers and there's all types of rappers that talk about that exact same shit. So this song was fueled by pretty much the reaction to my last two videos. And it has less to do with me feeling like I need to stand up and say, hey, I'm not racist, and more to do with me feeling like I need to respond to these people that have been saying wild shit on a public forum that is my page for the last 3 months.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, that makes sense. You can tell that Tom Macdonald has really thought these things through. Here is an artist who actually he can look at the reaction that he's getting and the feedback that he's getting, and you can see a disconnect there. He saw that disconnect. He can say clearly these people are not truly understanding what's going on. So, he's doing two things that are very, very smart. He's responding to them in a way that is, clever. And the second thing he's doing is he's allowing it to fuel his message and keeping the conversation going. And I think that's why Tom Macdonald is doing a great job at this. If you let people, they'll give you enough content to go off of.
Yep.
Let's see what Elaine has to say. They really do pick and choose. The Ahmaud Arbery trial is happening 30 minutes from where I live, and there's not much conversation going on about it, even locally. There we go. There we freaking go. Some of these cases used to be local. You didn't even hear about it in the national news. Now, with cameras, and now we have the whole top lawyers, these race hustling lawyers who try to find any case that they can to uplift their name and publicity to make it seem like they're really fighting for justice. They're picking and choosing all of these cases to uplift. And what happens after all of these people who already believe something are told night after night after night the same message? Black people are under attack. Police are killing unarmed black men in high numbers. I mean, they never really report on when white people get killed by police officers. I'm not saying that black people aren't disproportionately killed by police officers. I know that more white people are killed, but based on the numbers, black people are more likely to be shot by police officers statistically. But they also don't point out the fact that young black men are responsible for maybe over 50% of the homicides and violent crimes in America. They don't want to talk about that.
Not just that, but when you look at the top 10 leading causes of death for black men, like police aren't on there. Like I always tell people, it's important, but the problem is that you're looking at a 2% problem.
Yes.
It's like you need to be dealing with the other 98%.
Yes.
It's like 2% is a problem. We need to do it, but it's like I tell people, do like what the Irish did when they came here. They were considered less than a black person. I mean, they weren't slaves or anything, but they were considered less than a black person. But what they did is they said, hey, instead of us, acting, like bad for us, how about we get into the police areas and become police officers so that we know our people aren't getting mistreated. Let's get into the government so we can make sure that we're getting represented. That's what you do.
The Italians did it as well. See, here's the thing, and I can't say this enough. When you have the truth on your side, you're powerful. But the problem here is they've found a way to bypass that. The same thing they did with Tom Macdonald with his video. Let me show you what they do. The same thing you just said is facts. That's true. But what they will do is, instead of engaging with your facts and your knowledge, you know what they'll say? You can't talk about it because you're a white guy. You don't know my experience. They will even dismiss you based on your color, which is racist, that you can't have a conversation about it. So they don't even have to deal with your argument. And they did the same thing with Tom Macdonald. Tom Macdonald made a video and he talked about real stuff, real facts. And instead of engaging with his arguments honestly, what did they do? Called him a racist. Yep. Now, with me, on the other hand, because I'm black and I'll say the same exact thing that you just said, or something that Tom Macdonald said, they'll say, oh, you a sellout. You working against your own people. They do not have to really deal with the arguments because they have these ways of attacking your character.
Yeah, or you also get the one mainly from white people. I get this from a lot is when you do talk about something like, somebody brings up systematic racism. I go, well, then is it systematic racism that black people sold themselves into slavery, sold each other into slavery, and I've had people, tell me, shut up. But then I've had some people say stuff when I talk about issues, but like, I bet you don't even like know a black person. I'm like, yeah, I'm friends with quite a few of them. And they're like, no, you're not friends with them. They're not your friends. I'm like,
yeah. And then they even attack that argument that, you got a black friend. Like, that's a bad thing. I mean, it's really.
It's like, just because you have a black friend doesn't mean you're not racist.
I know, right? I mean, I'm just holding them to the same standard that I'm holding the racist white people to. Don't judge anybody off their skin color for good or bad. Treat people as individuals. Judge each individual based on how they treat you and what they have to offer. Let's stop dividing each other by race. And the black entertainment television, the BETs, or like all this support black-owned businesses. How about let's support businesses that offer me value? If you make something that I value and I'm willing to give you money for it, I'm 100% with it. I'm not finna shop somewhere just because that person is black. That's racist. And I wouldn't want a Chinese person to just shop somewhere because they're Chinese. And look, there's a lot of racists doing that. Now, I'm not saying that black people are exclusive to that. There are Asian communities, African communities who will only shop with their own people and dismiss other people because they're not of the same race or ethnicity. And it's just not right.
Well, no matter who says it. Do have to look at is, back when we were growing up, we were taught, treat people for who they are, not their skin color. I mean, Sesame Street just recently broke the biggest thing they should have never done, which is the puppets were, the way they were designed was supposed to take away race, was supposed to take away all this stuff so that you just focus on people's qualities instead of what the race they are. But now they seem to be adding like, we got our first Asian puppet. And it's like, oh, great. Yeah. Great. Now we're pushing race in there where race matters when it doesn't matter. It's that's the thing that bugs me.
And they don't want to play that game. They really just don't want to play that game because when you look at the hate crimes against Jews or hate crimes against Asians, black people are committing most of it.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Asians, like I actually looked it up, an Asian's more likely to be attacked by a black person than anybody else. But the one statistic that made me go, was an Asian is has the same likelihood to be attacked by another Asian as they are by a white person.
Yeah, it's crazy that like Asians are the one like demographic who are more likely to be attacked by somebody not their race than their exact race. Most people are attacked by people of their own race. Now, here's the thing. I don't even want to play that game. They don't want to play that game either. They just want to ignore certain things. I don't want to play that game at all. There are there are people who are bad people committing horrible acts against other people. We should see them as bad people, not what race they are, not what gender they are. There are bad people doing bad things, and we should treat them as such. It does not matter what their race is.
one thing I've actually thought to myself for a while now is I've always wondered why crime within their own race is usually like high. You know, white people is pretty high, black people is pretty high, and I thought to myself, maybe it's because people attack of the same race mainly because they don't want that charge for racial discrimination.
No. It's a proximity situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it just so happened that
just
you're more likely to
my
get into an altercation with people that you live around or that you spend most of your time around. Black people are more likely to live amongst black people. White people are more likely to live amongst white people. That's why. It has nothing to do with anything else. It's just proximity wise. And, you know, people always say, well, why you always bring up when black people are doing these things, but you never bring up when white people doing these things. White people are doing these things. There are Hell's Angels. There are neo-Nazis. There are a lot of white people who do violence against other whites at alarming rates, and black white single motherhood is up in their communities. Like I said, we shouldn't be playing this race game at all. There are people who make bad decisions or who are in bad decisions, and we should be focused on helping those people or doing justice for those people. Why the race plays a role is because I really do believe that it's a power play. I really do believe that, and I'm just going to take a leap out here, that the Democrats are very, and look, the Republicans are, but they do it differently. They do it with religion and stuff like that. But the Democrats are very interested in keeping the division there because they need to keep that voter block. They need to make sure that black people are afraid, and that the only way that black people will ever get what they want in this country is that they keep voting Democrat. So they have an interest in that, and people just got to wake up to it.
And that's why I think the second when the election came around for Biden versus Trump, I think it scared the Democrats because they saw that every demographic but white men went up, you know, and like black women, it doubled, and it was just like, you know, I bet it scared them. They're like, this man is taking our people away.
Yeah, Jeff said, I have to disagree, Javier. I would suggest someone go shop at a store that shows respect. Race shouldn't matter in any fashion. I thought that's what I said. If I said something different, I apologize. But what I'm saying is we should shop at places that offer us value and, you know, treat us respect, especially if you got good customer service and things like that. So race shouldn't matter. At least that's what I thought I said. But if I said something different, I apologize.
Yeah. And of course, now they're starting to put, you know, Asian-owned businesses. I mean, you go to Amazon, they're literally like sections where that like black-owned business, Asian-owned business.
Yeah.
I like the veteran-owned business thing on there, but it's like, I just want to buy something from the person because they make good stuff. I mean, if I find out that they're a veteran or something, cool. You know, I respect what they do, but you know, we shouldn't be like segregating each other, being like, oh, well, you can buy just from these kind of people or these kind of people. It's like,
and don't try to guilt me for not shopping with you because of your skin color. I see that a lot. But let's get back to what Tom's got to say. We almost halfway through. Yeah.
So it's more of like a culture shock from you moving here and then these people assuming that you're racist.
Absolutely. And I mean, my neighbor, some of the stuff he listens to is like, it's straight up, it's anti-white. And it blares from his house all the time. And he talks to me, he's like, yo, you got a problem with this shit? And I'm like, nah, bro, it's music. Like, it's all good. So anyways, I had him come over to the house. And I played him this song before I even decided to go through with the video or whatever. And is like very, very, very like pro-black, like very pro-black. And he straight up told me, he said, look, Tom, like, I understand that like you're a rapper and like, yeah, you're one of the good ones and you want to be down with like hip hop culture and he's like, I'm gonna tell you straight up, just because I live in America and I grew up here, and as my experiences as a black man in America, if I didn't know you and I saw you walking down the street and I'm hanging out with my black friends, I'm assuming you're racist before I even fucking talk to you. Because his analogy was, if there's a barrel full of snakes and half of them are poisonous, I don't have the fucking time to stick my hand in and figure out which ones are poisonous and which ones aren't. Because at the end of the day, they all fucking bite.
All right, so I let a little bit of that play because I wanted to kind of hear where that story was going. Now, here's my thoughts on this, and it's very clear cut. His neighbor has unfortunately been conditioned and brainwashed to believe that half of the white people in this country are racist, which is not true. If half of the country, if half of the white people in this country were racist, we will be living in a totally different America. This whole idea of being pro-black, there's no such thing as being pro-black. If anything, if the idiot probably took a DNA test, he probably got some white in him as well, or some Hispanic in him as well, or some Native American in him as well. Yeah, and a lot of white people, yeah.
It's like there was a YouTuber, a black female YouTuber that wanted to do a DNA test, found out she was white and bawled on live stream because she was like, "No, I don't want to be white." Like you got it in you. Sorry.
Yeah, this whole look. I got you, Jeff. This whole idea of being pro-black is the same thing I hear when somebody says that they're pro-white or they're a Nazi or they're white nationalist or white supremacist. Stop it. It's like, I don't agree with it when one side does it. Why the hell would I agree with it when black people do it? You're using the same tactics. You're complaining about being discriminated against or being treated differently because you're black, but you also want to be treated differently because you're black. You cannot take the same playbook from the racists and think it's going to work. Racism does not cure racism. It does not work. It doesn't work mathematically.
Yeah, just like the reason why I look at like in the South with the black slave owners that got to own slaves, it disappointed me that they literally acted or worse than the people that treated them. And I get how people go, well, that's all they knew. But I'm like, yeah, but you should still be like, no, I want freedom. I want to be, I don't want to be abused, but then, do the same thing. It's like, are you better than that person? It's like,
exactly. And I tell people all the time, I'm not in control of what happened in history. I'm not in control of I'm not in control of the races that we do have in this country. If they have positions of power and they want to subject me to it, I'm not in control of that. What I am in control of is how I treat people and how I think. And I refuse to be a racist. I refuse to play that game. And I only say this because I know there are going to be black people who disagree with me. That's fine. We can have that conversation. But at the end of the day, I am responsible for how I treat other people. Just because you do something to me does not mean that I have to respond in the same manner that you responded to me in the first place. That makes no sense. So what we have, and we see it all the time. Let's use a gang analogy, for example. If the Crips kill a Blood, that Blood was a cousin or a brother or uncle or something to somebody. And then they go back and they kill one of the Crips. And then next thing you know, that was a brother or a sister or somebody. And then they got to go back and kill them. And then you end up in this little match of who can kill enough people on each side. All you did was end up with 100,000 people dead. See, it never stops. So
it's like those family feuds that happened back in the day. They end up just kept killing each other. Oh, that's that family member right there. Kill him.
Yeah, exactly. Tanya, I saw that. Yeah, he was living in LA at the time, which I can definitely look. I've never spent time in California. I stopped going to Hawaii in the airport, but that's as much as it's been. But one of my closest friends is from California, and he's from that area. And me and him widely disagree on these issues. He's very much pro-black. And if you go back early on to my YouTube channel, when I first started it, I was having conversations with him. I highly recommend that y'all go see the difference in mentality. So I definitely understand what that's like. What's up, Hangover Gang? I'm glad I'm back too. I'm back. But but this neighbor that he has, this whole mentality that it's okay to hate white people because they're white, or it's okay to see white people a certain way because they're white. That is what you call a collective mindset. And the reason that we disagree with collective mindsets is very pure and simple. The moment you start to judge somebody based on whatever group they belong to, you're missing out on something. That person can offer you something. That person could have been a great friend. They could know how to do something that you wouldn't know. They might offer society something, but because you discriminated against them and you treated them differently because of their skin color, you never allow that person to reach their full potential or to offer you something that you could have benefited from. It hurts every single body. Slavery was not only bad for black people, it was horrible for black people, but it also was bad for society as a whole, because you know how many black people who probably could have did something great, created an invention, who wasn't allowed to do so because they were in captivity. So it hurts every single body on the planet how many great minds that we lost during slavery or during Jim Crow because they were not allowed to reach their full potential. So I say it again, and I'll say it over and over till the day that I die. And this is a hill I'm willing to die on. Being racist for a positive reason is still racism. It doesn't work. All right. I go on rant sometime, y'all. All right, let's get back to it. Whew, I get long with it.
That's what he said to me. And it's that it's, and he's my friend, but it's that mindset that a lot of people, and I'm not saying that he's wrong, but it's not something that I relate with being from Canada. And it's that mindset that a lot of people came to me on Facebook with in response to the mumble rap videos. And at the end of the day, like, that's what I was responding to with this record. You can only read these things on Facebook for so long until it does start touching you on some emotional level. And it does like start to anger you and stuff. So some of this is fueled from anger. I did my best to have it come from an angry place at times, but not a hateful place.
Definitely. I can respect that. You're going to get pissed off sometimes. It's just fact of life, man. When you have people attacking you over and over, celebrities are not immune. For whatever reason, we tend to treat celebrities as if they're superheroes, that they can just withstand all of the criticism and hate. I never go out of my way to just throw hatred at people, even if I disagree with them. I disagree with LeBron James highly, but I would never go on his Twitter page and just start throwing, I wish you die and I hate you, and like the negativity. I don't know what LeBron is going through. There are celebrities who actually commit suicide, and we don't know what they're going through. We have to take a place of compassion and understand that we all arrive to different conclusions based on the information that we have or the upbringing that we got. And we got to go ahead, DJ.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, yes, I mean, you don't necessarily want to go out of your way to, to attack somebody. But I do think that if a celebrity does go out of their way to like mock somebody or to make fun of them, I think they have then chosen that they no longer care. I mean, look at people like Robin Williams. Like, he never went out of his way to attack anybody. He didn't go out of his way to, make fun of anybody. He just stuck to himself. He didn't like something, he stuck to himself. I think the moment a celebrity or any of these high-profile people, which people look up to like gods, say anything, like especially like what LeBron said about Kyle, saying, "Oh, he's fake crying." I believe he should be criticized for that. I mean, maybe not totally should die or anything, because
that's what I'm saying though. Like, there are going to be celebrities who put their opinions out there. That's just, it comes with the territory. I'm not saying that these guys can't speak on it. It's freedom of speech. James had every right to put himself out there, and people have the right to criticize. What I'm saying is the whole "I wish you die," calling people things that they're not. Like, if a person isn't racist, don't call them a racist. You don't have to do that. You can deal with their arguments. You can say, okay, you said this, but this was wrong, and let me tell you why it's wrong, and let's have a conversation and dialogue. Now, there are going to be some people who say some things that are really going to piss you off. I understand, but realize, just because you dislike that person is still somebody's son, still somebody's brother, and you don't know, that man mama might feel different. Me and my mama have different political ideologies and different religious beliefs or whatever. And she still loves me. So if I get attacked, it's going to harm her. These are still people's loved ones and family members. You don't ever try to be a force for negative if you can help it. Because I promise you one thing. You'll be surprised at when you give people the time of day and you really show them that you're interested in engaging in their argument with good faith. You'll be surprised that you might be best friends with this person and you wouldn't even know it. And it's just the same thing Tom Macdonald was getting, because guess what? Just as much as I disagree with LeBron James, there is somebody out there who really, 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 really disagrees with Tom Macdonald. Just because me and you agree with some of the things that Tom Macdonald says doesn't mean that those people see Tom Macdonald the same way we do. I would still ask that they be respectful and try to have an open dialogue. And I get that it's not deserved, but we only feel that way because we already agree with Tom Macdonald. So everybody agrees with somebody. So you're the same somebody to LeBron James. Somebody is on LeBron James' side just as much as you're on Tom Macdonald's side.
Well, I mean, yeah. But in the end, the one thing we have to look at is pretty much people act and do the things they do based on the environment and the people they're around. So as long as they stick around those people, they just get further and further into it. I mean, it's like, I remember when wasn't called the LGBT community, it was actually just called the gay community. But when the gay community was actually all about, making it better and for everybody, not like, trying to force people to accept everything they want, just the basic, human rights, be able to get married, all just the basic things, now it's all like, it's gone too far. And now it's like people are like hurting themselves, cutting themselves because they think it's the right thing to do. And then they, it's just,
I get
a lot of things gone out of control.
Yeah, definitely. Y'all, Tom Macdonald, his videos always allow me to expand on so much, and we can capture so much on based on these conversations.
But some of it was done intentionally so that people stop and say, well, that's bullshit. He shouldn't have fucking said that. Because the reason this is taking place in a classroom setting is because this is a learning environment and an environment that incites discussion. So like, I want some of those people to say, hey, this is bullshit. You shouldn't have said that. I need those people.
Man, listen, I remember when I did my reaction to this, I said it. I really like the fact that he did it in the classroom. I really like that because education, the classroom is a place of learning, to open up and have discussions with people you disagree with. It also brings people from different experiences together in one area to have, discussions about very important topics. He chose that articulate, like very intelligently. He did that. And that's called being aware. He's definitely aware of the context surrounding it. And like I said, that's why I pay attention to the visuals in the music video, because it shows you a lot about how much this person thought out this whole image that they were trying to create and support the music and the things that they're trying to get across to you. So, pretty good. Anything that's found on that before I play it?
Nope. I like it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get it. We almost there.
That's what's going to spark the conversation. So
I definitely understand. Reason being, I just moved from Belize not too long ago, and race is not really like something we focus on. Like, we know there's Chinese people, we know there's different types of people, but we don't really focus on black or white.
Yeah.
So a couple months moving out here when I was going to community college, and there was something happening, but I can't remember what happened. But one of my friends at the time on the track, he was like, "Oh, that happened because you're black." And I looked at him, I was like, "What does that mean?"
And that right there, like I was saying, that right there can condition people to make people go, huh, maybe it was. And the next thing you know, that's what they're thinking about. It's like when people that are overweight or have certain issues saying I'm being bullied specifically because I'm overweight. It's like, or they make it like only people that are overweight are being bullied. But it's like, no, people are bullied for all kinds of reasons. I was bullied heavily in school for all freaking many different reasons. But it's just like people tell somebody, oh, it's just because of this. And then
like they mind readers, like they mind readers. Now, if he wanted to say it's more likely that it happened because you were black, I would be more understanding, even though I would still think that is an idiotic statement to make. Yeah. I mean, why is your first assumption that? Now, some people consider it justified in thinking that because of, historical context. But here's the thing, though. I have a similar mindset that he does. I mean, I grew up in the hood. I grew up around this type of talk all the time, and I never really paid any attention to it. To me, it was just people. I was more focused on surviving, and the person that was most likely to hurt me was another black guy that I was probably having beef with, or we was from different hoods. We had all of this stuff going on, and that's what I was most concerned with. I wasn't even concerned about race. Even I remember going back to when I was younger and I got profiled by a police officer, put up against a car and mistreated horribly. It never dawned on me that it was a race thing. I thought this cop was just a piece of S, But later on, when I became an adult, and this was after me doing time or whatever, the race issue became introduced to me when I started to really look into these things. And then I started to notice, like, yo, something's wrong here. And it's because I didn't grow up digesting that mindset that I can look at it objectively and say, no, that ain't right. You can't just make assumptions that because something happened to you, it was due to your race. And it's scientifically, we try to look for multiple explanations for a specific outcome. But these guys, they go straight to the source. They say, we don't need any other explanation. It's because you were black. Plain and simple, go on about your day. And that's not how we do with anything else in life. Yep. Ooh. All right, back at it. But I'm glad this guy's doing some talking and really,
I didn't understand what the context of the joke, so I had to ask him. He explained it, and that's how I learned about race. So I definitely relate to what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, people aren't that. It's not such of a non-issue in Canada where it's at a point where people wouldn't understand something like that. Like, it definitely does exist in Canada, but not to the degree of intensity that it exists out here. Right. So, So yeah, that's where I'm at. So I just wanted to. The reason I told everybody about it on the phone is just I didn't think it was fair to bring everybody here and then to play the song, and we expect everybody to just deal with it, which is why I sort of gave everybody a disclaimer on the phone, and that's why I wanted to play you guys a song right now. So as long as everybody's cool, we'll get on with it.
All right. So there it is, folks. That is before the shoot of WHITEBOY. So I'm going to give some last thoughts on that, and we'll wrap it up. Just to let y'all know that I'm going to be making some changes soon. Got some things coming y'all way. Hopefully do some special content for the people who financially support the show. Just got monetized. I would really like to do this full time if I can help it, because I would really like to have better conversations and, invite better guests on to have conversations about some real deep issues and do more of these videos and actually dive deep with y'all. So I'm trying to get it to the point where I can do this full time and this be my full-time job. We'll see how it goes, but gonna make some transitions and some changes there, but I'll let y'all know as it happens. But Tom Macdonald did the right thing here. The WHITEBOY video, it was spot on. It made a lot of sense. And for anybody to watch that video and come away with the fact that he's racist, it to me is intellectually lazy. It's not people really taking the time to try to understand a person's other view, and we all deal with that. We know what it's like to be shouted out, shouted down, called names, or mistreated because you're either atheist, because you're black, because you're white, because you're Christian. We all know that there are people out there who would judge you based off the most insignificant things about you, and the fact that Tom Macdonald is a voice for those people who are saying, look, I just want to have a conversation. And it's amazing that in this day and age that goes so far in our society. It says a lot about where we've come. And I think that all of us, every single one of us, has a role to play in this. And I just want to say thank all of y'all for being a part of it. And I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. And, Team Javier, we're gonna make it happen. HOG, I see y'all. Give me some final thoughts before we get out of here, DJ.
All I can really, say is, it's just we just need to. I don't know. At this point, we have to start fighting back. And I don't mean like in the way that BLM or Antifa or these other groups have done. Because in the end, it just. I mean, I can understand violence if it comes down to it. And that's the only choice left, but we still have enough of a choice to fight back. But what I think ultimately we need to do is just have more protests, get groups together and in your local community together that think like you, and actually start being more active. Because in the end, we have to get into politics. We have to get into the police. We have to get into these organizations that run things. Because in the end, it's if we let the bad people run everything, then in the end we're screwed. I mean, it's like what Beetlejuice of Chicago said, Lori Lightfoot. In one of her videos, which is on YouTube, is that she was saying that the whole point of these mandates is to force the people they know that won't get it out, so then they can put the people they want into places like police and other things like that to then push what she literally says in the video, the New World Order. So it's, we got people in charge that want to push and control things, but ultimately we need to start pushing back and get into these forms of government and stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot of work to do, y'all. A lot of work. Just make sure that y'all look out for one another. Family, everybody, if you see somebody hurting, say something, help them. Yep. Words of encouragement go a long way. Just listening to somebody also goes a long way. And, that's what we aim to build. That's what we aim to do. I'm just a part of that. I'm just a piece of that puzzle. Everybody has a part to play. Man, thank y'all so much for watching. And look, if y'all want to support the show financially, you could do super chats. If you don't want to do super chats, I got patreon.com/the Show. You can go over there and become a member. $5.99 a month. It really helps. And I plan on starting memberships on YouTube at some point. So that's also an option. And all my social media and stuff like that is down in the description below. And definitely go check out some of the designs that DJ Batman has been creating over there for the Javier Show. Let us know as well. Always in the comments. I'm always interested in other artists that y'all are interested in, that y'all would like me to do reactions to. I'm also interested in some kind of merch. If y'all want coffee cups, if y'all want t-shirts, if y'all got ideas of the type of merch y'all would like, we would love y'all feedback. And let's
the more you buy, the more I can come up with more designs. And here's just a small sneak peek of something I'm working on right now. It's kind of some parodies I'm going to do for the JAVIER show, but this is just kind of one I'm working on right now. It's kind of a little small teaser.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thank y'all so much for listening and watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, for the memberships that I will do, I'm thinking about doing like Q&As on like either Sundays or like Friday nights. It'll be some special content for those who support.
Yeah.
I definitely, and I want to get personal. I want y'all to ask me questions, and I want to, get to know each other and spend time together, and really, see what life is like. I know I'm always talking about, the Tom Macdonald stuff and getting into the breakdowns and reactions, but I would love to just, get to know each other, and I think I would like that. So we definitely.
And if you join the Patreon, you get your own section on Discord away from everybody else. So
yeah. So I'll make it easier for y'all, and we'll spell out all of that out. I know some of y'all don't use certain platforms, or some of y'all prefer to do other things, and we'll figure that out. Thank you so much, Tanya, for the $10. You're amazing. Thank everybody for coming on to the live. Elaine, Tanya, Jeff, so many of y'all, Hill in Montana, all of y'all for coming through. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Till next time, y'all. We are out. Peace and glory, like I always say. Peace and glory. Till next time. I'm out.
1 in a million to 1 villain. Too hot to be in the kitchen. I'll end up melting the ceiling.